Good morning, everybody. Monday. Happy Monday. Hopefully everybody as well as they roll in on an early Monday morning. I am already on. Got to grab here. I'm already on my second cup of coffee. So we'll let people roll in as we say good morning. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. Not a bad weekend here. Pretty low key. Housework, boring stuff. Vacuum, dishes, laundry. Nothing super exciting, but the weather's been nice. Actually, it was nice today as well. So get out a little bit chilly this morning, but I'll try and get out. I have to get down to the bank today. It was funny. I went to the bank on the weekend, and of course, not even thinking, it was closed. So I have to head to the bank today because that's my big project for the day, other than work. I had to pay off my car loan. I got a letter a couple weeks ago in the mail, so my last partial kind of payment is due. So I have to go do that. That's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I was looking forward to doing that on the weekend. I had the cash ready to go, and it was closed. So I have to run back there at some point this morning. But that's some good news for the weekend, anyways. Hopefully, is everything well? As we'll see who rolls in. Coffee crew. I will take a sip of coffee, and hopefully we'll see who's here. All right, Candace. Always well. You didn't make it first last week, last on Friday, if I remember correctly, but you made it today. Good morning. How are you? Hopefully your day's going okay. I haven't looked a little bit at the market, but I haven't checked oil. I know you like to kind of trade oil a little bit, but I haven't looked at that yet. So hopefully your day is going well, and let me know if, as always, anybody. Well, as you're watching, I forgot to say it. If you're watching on the replay, it's always appreciated. Thanks for tuning in. I'm off my game today on Monday. If you're tuning in on the replay, you can always catch us live Monday to Friday, 8:00 a.m. to about 8:45. We talk about the market. We talk about our TFSAs. We talk about where the conversations take us, and it's always good to have you join us live. But again, it's always on the replay, and I appreciate every view and every subscriber and likes and all that good YouTube stuff. There we go. Got that out of the way. And Stan is here. So far quiet this morning. Everybody seems to be quiet, waking up on a Monday morning. But good morning, Stan. How are you? Hopefully you're well. Hopefully you had a good weekend wherever you are, and hopefully your morning is going okay on the market. Nothing for me. This is the thing. I made this. I made this, doing my dollar cost averaging, but there was a screw up with my pay. So my paychecks. So I'm waiting for that to come through. So that kind of has to get adjusted. So I didn't get a chance to do my dollar cost averaging last week, partly because I forgot. And then I have to wait until my payday comes through before transferring some money over to Wealthsimple. So you're going to see a big jump once that comes through. That'll happen, but I just have to move some stuff around and figure that all out. But anyways, that's that. Candace, I see your comments rolling in, but we're going to do your joke because we can't forget the chat GP joke. And this is a good one because I'm a photographer as well. I have that. That's my hobby. So this was a good one. What did the photographer say after making a fortune in the stock market? I guess you could say my investments finally came into focus. That's just terrible, but it's so good. I think my investments are starting to kind of come into focus too. I guess that's a good ChatGPT joke. And I have a little article on ChatGPT as well because I'm still fascinated by it, but. And skip over max headroom intro. I'm going to work that, Candace. I'm going to work that into my one of my next update videos. I'm going to try and figure that out. I was looking through. I have like a stock footage account, and I was kind of looking for some stuff, but there was nothing actually like actual max headroom. So I'm going to figure something out. It's going to test my intro editing skills because I'm really not the great. I mean, I get by with Adobe Premiere, Candace. I'm not the greatest editor by any means. I kind of learn little bits and pieces as I go. I guess that's the way to do it. But I mean, some people on YouTube that have, it's just amazing. But the time as well is another thing. But my last video, Candace, I did a video on how to, simple video, just how to check your dividends on your Wealthsimple. And I figured out in Premiere how to do, I was so proud of myself. I figured out how to do the zoom on a certain part of the video, which I think kind of helps to show where you're tapping and stuff like that. So I have to figure out how to animate that maybe the next step. But again, learning as I go. And Sean, good morning. Always good to have you here. Coffee Crew's here. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you're well. And ask away questions. This is all about everybody, not just about me. And we'll get to Candace's monetization update. I was going to bring that up later, but we can talk about it now. It's so close. I as I take a sip of coffee. It's about 100 hours, Candace. Very, very close. I think once I get my other, I will get a portfolio update video out, and that will take us, should be good at the rate. It's about 100 hours of watch time. So for those that are watching, in order to get monetized on YouTube, you need to have 4,000 hours of watch time within the last 365 days. So it's like a rolling, and I'm almost there. I have about 100 hours to go. So it'll be close. There's been a lot of new viewers on the channel as well, which is awesome. So I really appreciate everybody that does subscribe and watches the videos. Some people aren't subscribed, but obviously if you're watching the videos, that's all that matters. So it's getting there. I was looking at it today, Candace, this morning, kind of like calculating it in my head a little bit and kind of like dates and stuff like that. And if I really buckle down, focus on maybe a couple of other different types of videos to add to the portfolio updates and add to the live streams, I think I can do it. I think I can do it by the end of the month. That's what I'm putting as a goal for myself, is by the end of February. I think it's possible. It's going to be close probably, because of the rolling average and everything like that, but I think it's doable. I just need a couple of good videos behind my belt, and I think it will work. So there's the update on the monetization of the channel. Then I can make a few cents from Google and YouTube and fire it into my TFSA. That's the plan. Anyways, that was the plan when I first started the video, or started the channel as well. Just kind of extra side, kind of side money, a hustle, something I enjoy doing. And if there's a little bit of a benefit, then I'm going to fire it into my TFSA. I should put. I probably won't, but it would be interesting to go is money from monetization when it comes. Put it all into Google. That might be something to think. So make money from Google twice. There we go. So a couple articles to share today. Nothing huge. The big day is going to be, I think, tomorrow in the news with CPI coming out in the United States. But there is an article that I did pull up kind of about that. We can kind of talk about. Grab it. That's what popped up in my feed this morning. So let me share that here. There we go. So it's actually not I can look at the top here, up a little bit today. Yeah, so it's a green day to start. So ticking higher, hotly anticipated inflation data. This one, I think everybody will be waiting to see what happens tomorrow. Bets are on coming down a little bit. So I think the forecast I was reading in here, the Fed has obviously hiked rates, much like Canada. Lots of rate hikes this past year, that's for sure. Aggressive is an understatement, and the inflation is expected. Economists are expecting it to slow down to 6.2% in January. So that would be down from 6.5% the month before, and going back into the States, a peak of more than 9% in the summer. So hopefully that will help the market, hopefully slower these rate hikes down. I mean, Canada has said that they are pausing with conditions, right? So I think we're kind of going along the same line in the States right now. So everybody will be watching tomorrow to see the CPI. Now, I think it usually comes out at, if I'm not mistaken, I think it comes out at, I believe it's 10 o'clock in the United States. I could be wrong. It could be later, but I believe it comes out, or might be a little bit earlier. It's always the time zones that kind of always screw me off. So if anybody knows for sure, I haven't looked it up on Twitter, online or on Twitter yet, and I always forget the time because of all the time zone changes and everything else. But if you know, let me know in the comments, and just fire it up if you know what time the Fed announcement is tomorrow. On that note, tomorrow, I will not be having a live stream tomorrow, unfortunately. I have a bit of traveling to do tomorrow early, so I won't make it. I don't think I'll be back in. I definitely won't be back in time for the 8 o'clock normal start. So I might be able to get on a bit later, but I'm not going to promise, because sometimes just work and stuff gets in the way. So probably no live stream tomorrow, but what I will do is, obviously, if you're watching, as you know, I schedule it the next, you'll see the schedule come up, and if you see that, you can hit the notification bell. I probably will get it scheduled just for Wednesday, just to kind of not stress about racing back to get in front of the camera. So is it 8:30 a.m.? Okay, maybe you're right. That would be Eastern. It's always so confusing with the time, all the time zones. Let me take a look if I can see if I can find it, Sean, on Twitter. I should, of course, if I was more prepared, I would be. Usually, you can find this on Twitter. And we'll see here. 8:30. You are correct. There we go. 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So that's early. That's early on the West Coast for me. I will still be sleeping, but up very shortly after that. So there we go. 8:30 a.m. We will know tomorrow what's going to happen. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it for clarifying that. Helps me out. Awesome. So that is good. I think we're looking for, a decent day today on the, if you have, your investments. It's always nice on green days to look at, wake up on a Monday and see a little bit of green out there in the market. So that's good. Even though I think a lot of us long-term investors, it's still nice to see that little bit of green as opposed to all the red we've been having for, the last year. It's nice to see that change. I did have another article, and this was actually on ChatGPT again. I'm all around ChatGPT, and I did a video on ChatGPT asking kind of for investment advice, and it was interesting, asking about AI investment, that kind of thing. So this was done by Business Insider. They basically went into ChatGPT and asked them to write an article about what ChatGPT is thinking about meme stocks, volatility, and the market outlook for 2023, which was interesting. So we can kind of go down here. If you don't know what ChatGPT is, I think you must have been under a rock. It seems to be everything that everybody is talking about these days. But the one thing to know about ChatGPT is its database cuts off on 2021. So some of the responses you'll get if it's more time, talking about markets in 2023, it won't give you probably the correct, it'll tell you if it's not in this database, but that's just to be something to be aware of. It does cut off. So they basically went out. This reporter asked ChatGPT for its outlook on the market, but it said it couldn't make a call, obviously, because its knowledge cut off in 2021. It doesn't have access to real-time data. I'm sure that's probably coming, just a matter of time. But that basically didn't stop it to make an somewhat informed outlook. And this is basically what it said. I'll read this out if you have thoughts, fire them in the comments. But it basically said, and it's pretty on the ball. It's does pretty well for I think basic knowledge on what's happening for sure. It says, in the short term, the market can be affected by many unpredictable events such as natural disasters, geopolitical tensions, and so on. But in the long term, it tends to be driven by the underlying health of the economy. One of the key factors that will likely affect the stock market in 2023 is the pace of economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. As the world continues to grapple with the pandemic, economic growth may be slower than usual, and this could have a negative impact on the market. On the other hand, if the world economy continues on the path to recovery, it could boost the market. Additionally, policy changes from governments and central banks, such as interest rate decisions, could also affect the market. It's worth to mention that the world is moving towards digital and sustainable technology, so that stocks related to this sectors could do well. It's kind of ChatGPT is giving itself its own little plug there, I think. In conclusion, predicting the stock market is difficult, and there are many factors that can affect its performance. While there is always uncertainty, the key factors to watch in 2023 include the pace of economic recovery from the pandemic, changes in government policies, and global events. Keep in mind that this is not financial advice, and you should always do your own research and consult with a financial advisor. It gets that disclaimer in there. I found that really interesting. I could actually almost kind of do this one I'm going to save this link actually, because this is kind of interesting. It goes along a little bit with the article that I shared with ChatGPT talking about AI, and this one talking about the market is interesting because what you can actually do with ChatGPT, I can actually. This is what's so fascinating about it, and how it's such a time saver and helpful for a lot of industries. I could take that article, basically copy paste it into ChatGPT, and you can ask it to summarize it into a YouTube style video, or summarize it into a 30-second, or one paragraph, and it will do it for you, which is pretty amazing. So ChatGPT, all the rage. I'm still interested to see, Candace was talking about it at her live stream yesterday on Sunday. If I know a few people that watch this channel, watch over in Candace's, but she talked a little bit about ChatGPT and also Google Bard. It'd be interesting. I can't wait to actually see Google Bard a bit more, to kind of give that a try out, but pretty interesting stuff. I think AI is the buzzword. I think we have to be careful with it, though. It might be the boom. It could be the boom this year and then the bust next year. You do never know. It doesn't. We'll have to see how that definitely pans out. It's not necessarily like ChatGPT says. It's not financial advice to invest in into AI like that. But I think there's maybe some opportunity if we are watching it. And AI pretty amazing. I mean, eventually, like I said when I was talking earlier, with monetization and editing videos and adding intros and all that kind of stuff, eventually I'll just have to be able to film a video and then upload it onto Adobe or wherever, and just say edit this, and click a button and it will edit it out. Adobe is definitely working on some AI stuff for sure. It's not quite there yet to do cuts and stuff like that, but they do have a beta of, and I've seen this on some other channels, which is really interesting, because when you're filming a video, getting sidetracked on talking about editing videos and that kind of stuff, but it is AI. When you do film a video, between takes or between content, you have little pauses in your speech, which is normal, and you take a little break and it'll still record, but you'll have a blank space of sound. There's AI that now can actually do it, and what the AI can do is, and we're kind of talking about this. So it can edit your videos. You're not hoping, you are hoping. I think you are hoping. I think it'd be nice, but Adobe, clarify that. But Adobe has this thing now. It's in beta, where it will actually, you can edit videos by sound. So when you're looking at a timeline, Candace, you'll understand this. When you're looking at your timeline and seeing the sound, it'll actually go in and cut out those pauses and put it together, but we'll also cut the video at the same time. So you can literally edit via AI with the soundtrack, which would make things a lot easier, especially going through and just doing, even if it was just starting out, and it was basic stuff in terms of getting the cuts down. That's a big time saver, to cut those spaces. You can literally, I've seen it on some videos, you can literally like drag you can compress your, you move your sound together. It takes out that pause, and then it matches the video to the sound as well. So pretty interesting stuff. I think it is coming. You're hoping. I'm hoping too. It would make my life a lot easier. Maybe just add a few clips that you want to have into the video, and it puts it in where it's supposed to go, and it knows where to do it. I think that's pretty amazing. One thing it does do now, which is with the audio, like a audio track on Premiere, where you have the background music. Candace, is sometimes obviously the soundtrack that you download is shorter than your video, so you can either change the song, or with Adobe now you can actually remix the song. You just have to click it and drag it to the full length of your video, and it will do its AI thing to remix the song and make it the length of your video. It's pretty amazing. It does a pretty amazing job. I use it basically for any video that I do my regular portfolio updates. If I have the video, when I have the sound going in the background, it's all done through AI to extend it to the length of the video. Just makes it so much easier, because I don't have to go and edit different songs, and keeps it consistent. So it does a pretty good job that way. It's time consuming to edit videos. I mean, your videos have more, you definitely have more graphics and edits than I do in mine. I typically, like when I do my portfolio updates, I like to do them kind of in a one take. I have an intro, I have my portfolio, and then I have an outro, and I keep it pretty simple. It's because of time, right? It takes a long time to edit videos, and even just doing that, I mean, I've got it now where I can edit a video. It still takes time to do it, but I've got it set up, and I've done enough. You get to do it. You get to kind of have a rhythm to do it, and I have the intro kind of pre-done. It's dropping that in there with the title, And then I know as I film my videos, I do it in like intro, those 3 sections. I can go in and edit those 3 sections fairly quickly, but it's still a little bit of time because I have to add I add the transitions to it. I have to edit and move it around on the screen, cut the different parts. But it doesn't take 3 hours by any means. But it ends up taking a good, just doing one video takes me anyways a good hour at least by the time, from start to finish. By the time you pick a song for it and get it all set it, and then you have to export it. YouTube is tough, right? For those that are thinking, I know there's a few people on the channel that are thinking of starting a channel. I do it. It's fulfilling, but it's tough work because there is a lot of, it's not just editing the video too. You have to edit. So it takes me about an hour to edit the video. I have to export the video. It takes 10-15 minutes, and it takes a while to export onto the computer, which is okay because you can still do other things when you're exporting your video, but you have to then go make, create the thumbnail. Then you have to go and create, if you're changing the title, you have to possibly research the title, look at keyword, look at all these kind of things, the description. I'm lucky with my channel in terms of a lot, 75 to 80% of the videos are portfolio updates. So they're very, very similar. So I can repurpose a lot of the titles, and like same with the live streams, like the live streams posting are consistent. So it's pretty easy to kind of get one of those up. It's when you do another video that is a different topic or on a different thing. And Candace, for you, I mean, it's all the charts and the research. It's, if you're spending 3 to 5 hours editing your video, that's not including, the 3 to 5 hours that or more that you're researching your video, because you could do those deep. I mean, big respect because of the deep dives and the battles, and that's a lot of time but again, hope eventually it will pay off for you, hopefully, and hopefully it is paying off. You're monetized, you're growing, your channel's growing, memberships, and I think that's great. But it's hard work, these YouTubers, that's for sure. It's definitely a time, takes some time and takes some persistence for sure, and learning. The thing with editing videos, I think each one kind of gets hopefully a little bit better and a little bit faster. That's what I've learned. But I like to keep mine fairly simple. It helps me from going insane with editing. But looking back, a couple years, everything kind of gets faster and gets better. So. And you edit, if you edit out, if you're reading, I think you have a teleprompter if I'm not mistaken, but if you're reading a teleprompter, you'll have your ums and ahs, and that's the one thing about live streams that are make life very easy. There's no editing. You just have to jump on, grab a cup of coffee, go for it, and then converse. It's more authentic that way. Whereas videos, if I was humming and hawing and breathing through my whole videos and not editing those parts out, the pauses, it would be a pretty boring video. So, Nadia, happy Monday. Good morning. Hopefully you're well. Thanks for tuning in. We were just talking about with Candace here, and you were just talking about how long it takes to edit videos on YouTube, which is a long time. It's always a long time to edit, but that's okay. That's why I do like the live streams. It gets me able to chat, and it saves some editing. And I know. I think you mentioned you're starting I saw that you'd mentioned to me you're starting I don't know if you're starting a YouTube channel. I'm not going to put that out on to the chat or to the crew yet, Nadia. But if you do, we will definitely share your channel on the channel once you get going. But I'm not sure where you're going to be sharing your videos. But it's always fun. It's good. It's good to get started. Just don't forget. I mean, we've talked about it before. First videos are always terrible, and it takes some time to get into the groove, and you figure out your groove after a bunch of videos. And we'll give you also increase my base speed a wee bit to help the video flow faster. So you talk faster in your than normal. That's the one thing. The thing with live streams too is you can definitely take your time, I think, a little bit more to talk about things and think about things, take a pause, ponder, right? But you can't necessarily do that as easily in a video unless you're kind of telling a story and getting. I mean, some people put this ton of work. Big respect for people that put a lot of work into videos. Believe me, it's not easy. That's for sure. But fun. But the payoff is good, and I know I'm interested. I do follow. I have to do I really have to do a video on the channel with a lot of the other, because there's a lot of other good Canadian content of finance content on YouTube. I follow a fair number of them on my channel. I have to do some kind of video or something to kind of shout, not that I have a huge channel to shout them out, but just to kind of get it out there with ones that I find are interesting to watch. There's lots. The biggest thing I find though is, it's you can see it with with channels, is sometimes they drop off, right, for whatever reason, because you finally realize it's hard and it takes a good year or so to get the channel going. It's definitely dedication. On the weekend there was a good live stream, and it was good to see him on a live stream actually. I follow I think his last name's I think his channel's the same name, Robin Haney. He did a live stream. I know he's all over Blossom, and I do follow his channel. He does much the same that I do, portfolio updates, but younger, so it is definitely a different vibe and different, I think, people following the channel. But he did a good live stream, like Q&A kind of thing, it was on Saturday, and that was good to check in. Hopefully he does more of those. So those live streams are good to grab if you can jump in and see the questions kind of flowing. He had quite a few people asking a lot of questions. I think a lot of people come over from Blossom to kind of watch that, which was good. I am on Blossom. Talked about it a little bit. I still haven't. I put all of my portfolio in there. I spent kind of Friday, Saturday making sure that it was done manually. I still don't really see I'm not too keen on linking my portfolio. It's just me. So I've done it manually. But there's some interesting posts on there. It's definitely, I think, check it out. I can't see myself spending a ton of time over there, just because time is valuable and you can only spend so much time in different places. But it's worthwhile, I think, kind of scrolling through. There is some good questions that get asked there, and some good answers that get posted for sure. I wish they had Blossom only works on your phone on an app. It would be nice if they had a web stream of it. I'll have to send them that suggestion. I think that would be nice, because if you're sitting, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I'm in front of my computer literally all day. And if I could have Blossom open in a tab within my computer, I think that would be awesome. That way I don't have to keep checking my phone, because I mostly hate typing on my phone. So if I'm posting something, I'll post it. If I'm on Twitter and that, I go onto the web to typically post it and stuff, just because I can't stand texting and typing on my little keyboard. Inevitably always make mistakes or something like that. So that's why I prefer if they had a desktop versions. But I know, Candace, I think you're on Blossom now. I saw you followed me there. I think most of the Canadian kind of YouTubers are kind of on there now, for better or worse, I guess. I don't really share much over there. More of a lurker. I'm always seems to be more of a lurker on a lot of social media stuff than posting, but except for YouTube, where I'm kind of all the time. And one last article, since we're kind of talking about, I think, like Blossom is kind of geared more towards millennials for sure. Let's last article to share, and then if anybody has any comments, questions, fire them up. Happy to answer, happy to chat. Half of Ontario, I try to get good news, but this one popped up as well. I kind of thought it fit well with maybe some of the demographics of that watch this channel, but also some of the finance as well. Half of Ontario insolvencies are filed by millennials. That I found actually very interesting. Nearly half of total Ontario insolvency filings in Ontario, so 49%. Even though they only make up a quarter of the 18 and over population, which is a lot. The average insolvent millennial is just 33 years old. Yet they are 1.7 more times likely than baby boomers, and 1.4 times as likely as Generation X to file for insolvency relative to the population. This is an overall trend. It's been since 2016 that the average insolvent borrower continues to get younger, with student loan debt is the big one, and extremely high cost loans being the main drivers of insolvency. Student loans, average millennials owed on average $47,283 in unsecured debt last year. Driven, I can highlight this, driven largely by student loans, which is kind of scary. More than 1 in 3 millennials were carrying student debt worth an average of so one in 3 were carrying student debt worth an average of $16,725, which is about 30% of their total unsecured debt load. So a lot. Post-secondary education, very expensive, as we're seeing. Also, it's talking about millennials having flocked to loans with obviously higher rates, and it's talking about payday loans, also high interest line of credit. So unsecured line of credit obviously would hold a higher interest rate than something that's secured by your home. If you have a home line of credit, an average balance is totaling $11,940. And they're also pointing out, this is a firm pointing out, these kind of loans carry a minimum interest rate of around 29.99%, which is crazy. So also talks about the buy now, pay later trend. So a lot of these are is hitting millennials. Something to be and that it does mention that payday loans, Candace, is the worst. So it doesn't break down the interest rates on. It does mention minimum interest rate of 29.99 and can cost as much as almost like 59.99% when fees are added. So there's fees if you have fees on there with buy now, pay later. Pretty scary stuff. Yeah, they are the worst. That is for sure. I would call payday loans definitely not something that you can hope, if you can avoid at all costs, do it. The one thing I've read a little bit though about payday loans, Candace, is sometimes a lot of people who take them are actually like, I don't want to say older people, but it's not just, I think it's not just younger people that are taking them, because a lot of times people will take them and they're almost like really good credit borrowers. It's not like a bad borrower with bad credit and you can't get something else anywhere else. It's just, I think sometimes what happens is a lot of people go to payday loans because they've got a pinch somewhere that they need the money, and there's almost some embarrassment in terms of having to go to possibly, I mean, they probably might not even go to their bank to ask for a loan. There's just some pride, kind of so much of a pride involved, or won't ask, like say for example, if they need a small loan to get them by for whatever reason. If it's like it's not something they do very often, is instead of asking like a family to borrow some money or friends, they'll go to those instead, and they kind of get, like you said, legal loan sharks. It can be pretty crazy the amount of interest they do charge. That's for sure. You definitely want to kind of stay away from them as much as possible. And they do prey on lower income. Yeah, once you start, that's the thing. You come back, you just have to keep carrying forward. But I have seen, Candace, people in higher income people, and also having to use them. Just because of debt levels and everything else. That's what happens. I mean, people start to make more money, and they start to spend more money, right? Like their lifestyles carry up, right? And don't get that any farther ahead. Even though you're making more money, you're spending more money on debts and things. And big thing that always pops out that I always find interesting, and it's in my head right now, because I have I owe $74 on my car that I have to pay off, and my car's paid off. I haven't had a paid off car in so long, so it's on my head. But what people, when as you're making more money, and then all of a sudden you get a bigger car loan, you get a bigger house, and it's like, do you really need all that? And there's a lot. I do follow a lot of finance people on Twitter, and there's always like the post going around basically telling someone like, people don't think twice about having a $700 car payment a month, but if you tell them to invest $700 into the S&P, they think every month they would think you're crazy and say, I can't afford that. And it's like, well, if you didn't have your $700 a month car loan, you could do that. And that's where I've started to really focus in this last couple of years in terms of cutting back. I think it really kind of started in 2020 for me, having moved, having lost, having moved, having changed career, changed jobs, that job going to zero and having to go back to an old job, thankfully having a job eventually, but in that transition period, there was just such a big uncertainty. Obviously, everybody knows what 2020 was. And that's what kind of made me really be conscious of where money's going, what's happening, where, and starting to invest and save a lot more because all of a sudden that all got cut off, and all of a sudden you go from living good, you're fine, and then all of a sudden to zero, to literally zero, and having moved to a new province, new city, and then having to essentially restart is not fun, but it's paid off. It's these little things, right? Stop. And I kind of started this back in 2019 as I was kind of shifting to a different job, but cutting back on restaurants, cutting back, not spending money on I don't drink anymore. So this changes can do it. And I kind of think of it as hopefully as you're making more money, not, cut back on expenses and put it into TFSA, RSP, whatever, any type of investment. That's kind of my thing, and try and stay away from payday loans, and that's for sure. I haven't done a video on payday loans, but there's got to be some out there on YouTube to say how terrible they are. So try not to get involved if you can at all avoid those. That's for sure. In a roundabout way. And there we go. We're coming up almost to, we're over the halfway mark. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We always have good crew of people, 10 or so people joining in. If now's the time, if you haven't hit the like button, hit that like button. I forgot to mention that at the very beginning. It does help the channel grow. It shows people that we are live and online, and always appreciated if you're as everybody that's tuning in. If you're watching and you're not haven't said hi yet, we have a good group of people here. If you have questions, it's always we can always try and steer you in the right direction and carry on, and it's a good conversation for the most part. That is one thing I've been very fortunate with in the channel. There's not lately, as I say it, not a lot of spam, not a lot of scam, and good constructive comments that come in all of the videos. So I do appreciate from everybody that does follow along. That's all good. If anybody has any comments, questions, now is the time. I will pull up the Coffee Crew, our watch list. We can kind of take a look and see what's going on. I haven't looked at a ton of what's happening, but as I had the page open here, it looks actually kind of decent today, which is good. It's always nice to see more green than red in our watch list. So for those that are watching for the first time, this is the Coffee Crew watch list. We do have these are some of the stocks and ETFs that are popular with the community. Just kind of keep them on one channel. So if you're looking for any kind of suggestions, these are some of the ones that the Coffee Crew has pulled up. Quite a few of them in there actually, and lots of green today, which is nice to see that. Obviously we're not short-term traders, but it is nice to see that. And there's also, we did also have, I can bring it over. This has been almost quite popular with in Blossom as well. I just noticed a comment with with ChatGPT and AI, what kind of things to kind of invest in. So these are some tech ETFs that were brought up by the company. Hopefully you can see that. I still have to figure out a way, and if anybody knows, let me know in the comments the best way to kind of share a multiple watch lists that I can share, so people can find the link on my description. I haven't found a decent one yet. I know Trading, I know TradingView. Ideally, I don't want it to cost anything because I'm so frugal and cheap. I don't want to pay the extra bit because I don't need to use the full. If I'm on TradingView, I don't need the monthly kind of thing. But if anybody has kind of I wish Google would allow to share this, but they don't for whatever reason. So if anybody has any ideas on where to find that, I've seen a couple online, but they make it's not the greatest. So if anybody has any hints on that one, so these are the tech ones. You can check it out. I guess they're over. Oh, they're over that way. There we go. It's always opposite when I'm filming this thing. And then we did have some good RSP ETFs. These are some more US ETFs that had been mentioned as well by the community. So if you're looking for a good ETF to possibly hold in your TFSA, they are there. If anybody is watching and you're watching maybe on the replay and you wanted to get a list of these, I would be happy to email you that over. You can email me there's on the about page, there's the contact email for me, and you can always email me there, and I'll shoot you off a screenshot of that so you can check those out and go and carry on with your research. Obviously, it's just the starting point to where you are wanting to go. But that's one thing I found. I said it always, it's like there's so many investments, so many ETFs. Where do you start? And I think this was a good help from the community to kind of get you on the right track and on the right base to kind of carry on and narrow down your list a little bit, and then go forward with your own research on looking on if it's a good investment for you. But very helpful. The Coffee Crew doesn't steer you wrong, which is awesome. And yeah, there we go. All right. Well, I'll let, it's about almost coming up to 1:45, which is towards the end of the stream. Great live stream today. As always, good fun. If anybody has any last minute comments, questions, now you can get them in. Again, just a reminder, no live stream tomorrow. I'll be traveling, so we'll catch you back on Wednesday. I will be here, and I will do a video update because I'm not going to have a live stream tomorrow. So I will do a portfolio update on the channel and get that posted so you have something to watch. At least you can always kind of join in. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Always appreciate it. It's always fun when these to do these live streams in the morning. They get me started for the day. Good place to kind of hang out. Gets my day going before I have to start my work day and my work Monday, which is okay. But I think it's gonna be a good week. I'm optimistic. We'll see how things go with the CPI tomorrow. I'll watch that. I'll check that on my phone when I'm out and about, and then we'll be able to talk about that on Wednesday for the later stream. So there we go. On your way out, don't forget, hit the like button. Helps out the channel. As always, can't say that enough. I do appreciate all your likes, subscribes, and view hours. 100 hours to go. So if everybody that's watching goes and watches, a past stream in the background, maybe that would help me out. That would be appreciated. One of the old videos. Maybe go back. Here's a challenge. Go back and watch one of my first videos and leave a comment, and I'll catch you in the. I'll reply to your comment there. Be great to see it. Let's leave it at that. Have a nice day. Candace, thanks for joining in. Always good. Look forward to seeing you next time. And that's all, everybody. Have a great Monday.